Okay, so we're looking at chapter 2 now, chapter 6 now, which is an introduction to metabolism. And one thing that you want to remember is that, our little living cells are chemical factories. There's thousands of reactions that are occurring all the time. And so our cells have to utilize energy and apply energy to perform work. So either they take in energy to make something happen or they give off energy. Sometimes to kind of show how the energy that's given off, it might be converting energy to light, like bioluminescence, like you see with certain bacteria and other animals, especially in the ocean. Sometimes it's given off as heat. So metabolism is what this whole entire chapter is going to be about. And I would know the definition of metabolism is the totality of an organism's chemical reactions. Metabolism is an emergent property of life that arises from interactions between molecules and cells. A metabolic pathway begins with a specific molecule and will end with a specific product. And each step to get to this specific product, to get to D, is catalyzed by a specific enzyme. Catalyzing meaning it helps speed along the process. So there's two types of metabolic pathways. There's catabolic, which involves breaking down complex molecules, and as a result, you're giving off energy. Cellular respiration is an example of this, and so we will see this in the next chapter. The way that I remember that catabolic pathways give off reactions is that cat is in front of catabolic. Cats kind of give off a bad attitude. Anabolic pathways, on the other hand, consume energy to build complex molecules from simpler ones. So anabolic uses energy, takes in energy, catabolic gives off energy. When you give off energy, you're breaking up bigger molecules. Your catabolic pathways, you're giving off energy to break down complex molecules into smaller ones. And in anabolic, you're consuming energy to make more complex molecules from smaller or simpler ones. Bioenergetics is the study of how energy flows through living organisms, and so that would be looking at anabolic and catabolic pathways and how we work the way that we work to survive using that metabolism. So energy is the capacity to cause change, and energy can work in a number of different forms. Kinetic energy is the energy that's associated with motion. So this would be like if you move really fast and you feel heat, like if you rub your hands together really fast, you feel heat that's produced from it. So that would be kinetic energy. Thermal energy is kinetic energy, but it's associated with random movement of atoms or molecules. Heat is the thermal energy in transfer from one object to another. And then light is another type of energy that can be harnessed for work. So kinetic energy is the energy associated with motion. Thermal energy is kinetic energy associated with random movement of atoms or molecules, and heat is thermal energy in transfer. Potential energy is the energy that matter possesses because of its location or structure. So something, a round ball at the end of a table would have a lot of potential energy because it has the potential to fall off of the table. So let's see, like a ball at the top of stairs would have high potential energy. A ball in the middle of the stairs would have half the amount. And then a ball at the bottom of the stairs has the lowest amount of potential energy. Chemical energy is potential energy available for release in a chemical reaction. And energy can be converted from one form to another. So we talked about three types really: kinetic energy, potential energy, and chemical energy. And then thermal energy is a type of kinetic energy. So if you look at this picture, this diver up on top of the platform has a large amount of potential energy on top of the platform. As he dives off of the platform, that potential energy is being converted to kinetic energy. The diver has the least amount of, or has less potential energy once he's in the water, and the least amount of potential energy as he's climbing up the ladder because he is utilizing more energy to do that.
Energy is the capacity to cause change. Kinetic energy is the energy associated with motion. Energy that is not kinetic is called potential energy, and is energy that matter possesses because of its location or structure. Energy is neither created nor destroyed, but converted from one form to another. This property is called the conservation of energy.
The bow and arrow start out with low potential energy. As the archer's arm pulls back the string, kinetic energy from the arm's motion is converted to potential energy in the tense bowstring and arrow. When the bowstring is released, the stored potential energy is converted into the kinetic energy of the moving arrow. When the arrow hits the target, its motion ceases. If energy is neither created nor destroyed, where did the energy of the flying arrow go? Let's rewind and look at kinetic energy in more detail. When energy is converted from potential energy to kinetic energy, some of the energy can be used to do work, but some energy ends up as heat, a type of kinetic energy. Heat is the random motion of atoms and molecules. As the arrow flies through the air, heat is generated by friction between the arrow and air molecules. When the arrow strikes the target, all the energy becomes heat energy. The heat energy is rapidly transferred into the air and spreads out. Heat energy is a very disordered kind of energy. It has the highest amount of entropy, or disorder, of any kind of energy. Where do our muscles get energy to perform work, such as pulling back a bowstring? Our bodies use the chemical energy from food to perform work. Chemical energy is a form of potential energy. When your body breaks down food molecules, the stored potential energy from food can be converted to kinetic energy. The stored chemical energy in food is released in your muscle cells during the process of cellular respiration. Using oxygen, cellular respiration converts chemical energy from food to another form of chemical energy called ATP. Water, H2O, and carbon dioxide, CO2, are byproducts of cellular respiration. The potential energy of ATP can be converted to kinetic energy. Some of the kinetic energy is used to do useful work, such as pulling back a bowstring, but the heat energy that is generated cannot be used to do work.
Okay, so let's also look at the laws of energy transformation, and these are called the laws of thermodynamics. Thermodynamics is the study of energy transformation, of energy moving from kinetic to thermal, or kinetic to potential, or vice versa. In an open system, energy and matter can be transferred between the system and its surroundings. But in an isolated system, exchange with the surroundings can't occur. We are considered an open system, and so energy can be transferred between ourselves and our surroundings. The first law of thermodynamics is that the energy of the universe is constant. So energy can be transferred or transformed. It can be transferred from one thing to another. Heat from a flame can boil the water and add energy to the water, or it can be transformed from potential to kinetic, or kinetic to potential, but you cannot create or destroy energy. This is also called the principle of conservation of energy. The first law of thermodynamics is that energy in the universe is constant. So the amount of energy that was in the universe when dinosaurs roamed the earth is the same amount of energy that will be in this universe when we're long gone and the next species of humans arrives to take our place. So here's that first law of thermodynamics. This grizzly bear, this bear feeds on a fish and it gains chemical energy. It's the transfer of kinetic energy from that swimming fish into chemical energy by the bear. The second law of thermodynamics is that during every energy transfer and transformation, some energy gets lost as heat. It's given off as heat. So according to that second law of thermodynamics, every energy transfer or transformation increases the entropy of the universe. Entropy is disorder, it's randomness. So every time you transfer or transform energy, you increase the entropy. So in this case, second law of thermodynamics, this this grizzly bear has taken in this chemical energy. He's going to run around and he gives it off as heat. He he increases CO2, he sweats things out, he's increasing randomness in the universe by giving off all these extra things. Living cells unavoidably convert organized forms of energy to heat. So spontaneous processes occur without any energy that's been added to it. Just like you would think spontaneous anything is. It's spontaneous, it happens without any help. And spontaneous processes can happen quickly or slowly. But in order for a process to be spontaneous, it must increase the entropy of the universe. Biological order and disorder. Cells create ordered structures from less ordered materials. So organisms also replace ordered forms of matter and energy into less ordered forms. Energy basically is flowing all the time in an ecosystem. Energy flows into an ecosystem in the form of light and exits in the form of heat. So think about energy is given to the plants from the sunlight, and it exits in the form of heat. We eat the plant, we gain chemical energy, we do work, run around, walk around, and we give off heat as we do it. The evolution of more complex organisms does not violate the second law of thermodynamics. Entropy may decrease in a system, but the universe's total entropy must increase. Organisms are islands of low entropy in an increasingly random universe.